Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon and good night for those connecting from Asia. I'm John Rivera. I lead the mobile program for the UNEP office for Latin America and the Caribbean. I would like to welcome you to this session of MOBE today. We will be talking about one of the standards of electric vehicle charging, the CHAdeMO that you may be all aware of. We will be having really nice and spectacular presenters today to know more about the protocol, the charging standard, how it works, how it can fit your cities, how it can be done, and how has already been done in many other countries in the world. For that, we today have with us Makoto Dave Yoshida, which is a mechanical engineer by training and having been involved in electric vehicles over a decade. Makoto Dave Yoshida brings to the table his expertise in EV safety and technical standardization. He has spent 4 years in Brussels as Nissan Technical Center for Europe and 4 years in the USA in the Nissan Washington, D.C. office. Mr. Yoshida is now General Manager of External Affairs Department at Nissan, while taking on a variety of external roles such as Secretary General of CHAdeMO Association, Vice Chair of EV International Standardization Subcommittee at JAMA, which is the Japan National Manufacturers Association, and Chairman of EV Safety GTR Informal Working Group Committee at JASIC, Japan Automobile Standard Internationalization Center. Welcome, Makoto. Thank you for being here. We do also have with us today Tomoko Blech, which is the Secretary General of CHAdeMO Association in Europe, in Paris since 2013. A former marketing strategy consultant and business reporter with work experience in Asia Pacific, USA, and Europe. Now she's in charge of the overall operations of CHAdeMO Association in Europe and beyond, including public relations, institutional communication, member services, and event coordination. Tomoko holds a BA in International Relations for the University of Tokyo and a Master in Business Administration for the University of California, Berkeley. So thank you both for being with us today. Thank you so much for the presentation you are about to give us. And Dave, the floor is yours.
Thank you for introduction, John. Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to our session today. Our title could be Successful Transition Towards Nation and Region-Wide Zero-Emission Transport System. I really appreciate giving us this type great opportunity. Next slide, please. My name is Dave Yoshida, as I introduced. So I'm very happy to show today's seminar's objective. We hope you will understand what CHAdeMO is at the end of our presentation, and also learn how to what the necessary elements of good charging infrastructure are. And of course, we also would like to best development charging network, practical knowledge sharing. This presentation contains these three parts. Next, please. So more concentrically, I will first make overall presentation like CHAdeMO in brief, and also then explain what are the requirements for developing good charging infrastructure. Then we will conclude our seminar with a case study and summary and proposal for the future. Let's start. Next, please. I think you should already have heard about us, CHAdeMO Association. And just let me explain about CHAdeMO in both the name of the standard and organization. So our task is, of course, to develop CHAdeMO protocol, it's a charging standard, and define how to charge electric vehicle with a direct current DC charge. Our organization is a consortium type. It contains EV OEM, charger manufacturer, energy company, or IT, or other manufacturing like construction company as well. So next, please. As of today, we have more than 500 members from 47 countries as our total entity. Oh. Yeah. Next, please. This chart shows you can see the CHAdeMO as one of the international charging standard of DC, and in the world we also have CCS type, CCS1 for the United States, North America, CCS2 for Europe, GBT for China, and Tesla as their private standard. This is the current existing standard as a global basis for DC charging. Next slide, please. So, CHAdeMO global charging point is in 89 countries and more than 35,000 charge points exist in the world. Mainly as we really thanks to the Europe, we have more than 16,000 and followed by Japan or Asian region. So we have thousands chargers are there. But of course, number is even small. It means a lot of room to grow up is waiting for us in the future. Next slide, please. Here is a number of plug-in vehicle based on the fast charging index type. As you can see, CHAdeMO related electric vehicle exist more than a million already. Can you click the mark? Yes, this type. And of course, as Tesla vehicle can use CHAdeMO, so we contain Tesla cars as a CHAdeMO available and compatible charging vehicle. So dominated by China's one, but as you can see, we still have a lot of opportunity to have a CHAdeMO car is running in the world. Next, please. Now, I would like to change the subject. Key factors for developing good charging infrastructure. This contains two parts. One is, as you can see, safety as a core value for the charging infrastructure and other key factors. Next slide, please. Safety contains three parts: sustainability and localization and innovation. Of course, all the kind of innovative issue, localization and sustainability are based on the sure safety value. We have safety as a number one priority. So, yes, next, please. First of all, DC charging is a huge energy transfer. The infrastructure and the vehicle itself should be safe. There is a two issue. First, it needs to resist temperature because of the high current flow. And of course, for the human being, we have to avoid electrical shock. Usually, current electric vehicle with DC charging are used more than 400 volts. So if something happened, it will surely serious critical damage to the human being. And also, we have to about the marketability, not the safety, but as the power increase, the cable and connector assembly become heavier, and we have to surely keep the mechanical integrity for this type of connector. CHAdeMO since 2009 as our first launch into the market, we have over the decade and record of safety, no incident record are still ongoing. That's our proud. So because we have multiple fail safe system and also the our members uh, also run very many type of tests to ensure not only mechanical strength but electrical safety as well. Next slide, please. Okay, then I would like to talk about sustainability as a one of the three main pillar. Next, please. First of all, specification sustainability. So what is the light charging power? As you may hear, the charging DC charger may have a output power like 50 kilowatt or 100 kilowatt these days comes. And of course, in some cases, in a already EV deployed company, they have 350 kilowatt level charger. But unfortunately, the battery has its charging rate as a limitation to the charge. Please imagine some bottles are there. If you have a small bottle, it means small capacity of battery. The fill up with some tap water, it can be quite fit. Of course, it takes time. But even you want to charge much more quicker, but if your tap goes much with a big capacity, big speed of the water, flow of water, it may not fill up so quickly. All the other water are spilled out. Once it's not like a pet bottle, but like a bathtub type, okay, 350 will work. Therefore, the right size of the DC charging capability must suit with the charged battery capacity itself. This is very much important sustainability of the specification of the charger. Again, I would like to repeat, thinking about battery capacity and charging rate. Not always higher is better. That's what I want to say with this slide. Next slide, please. So in the case of CHAdeMO, due to such kind of specification suitability, we are separated our charging system into three parts. One is for bigger and heavier truck or buses suit, like a 350 kilowatt level, into the battery more than 100 kilowatt hour capacity. In that case, of course, it's not so popular like here and there, like type of charger. We propose with charge with pantograph or big and huge pins automatically operated. It means automated charge and new type of devices are required, but it may happen in the future because our CHAdeMO member consists some airplane manufacturer from Europe or other construction machine members are there. So they require, because they usually charge their devices very at a dedicated place. Therefore, it's not only for it's not the use for popular normal people use, but very much dedicated by specialists. Then moderate power, like currently existing like 50 kilowatt to 150 kilowatt. Battery capacity could be 50 kilowatt hour or until the 100 kilowatt hour. So at the destination or around the road charge, like emergency case, if your battery is run out, in that case, you can use our current CHAdeMO plugs as a normal DC charger. On the contrary, as a small car, like a two-wheeler, three-wheeler, or rickshaw in India, or tractors, or golf carts, we don't need such a high power due to battery capacity could be very small. In that case, cost will very much influenced by the specification. Smaller plug and probably wireless charging also possible, but smaller but much cheaper cost charger are expected. So CHAdeMO is robust and expandable for all these three categories above. This is our unique characteristics. Next slide, please. So another sustainability, viable business model. So of course, charger must be safe and hopefully charging time could be much shorter. But also another important factor is a good charging station has a minimum cost and maximize turnover. It means so providing charger that can charge at the right power level, as I explained now, and maximize customer value through various charging needs, like multi-standard charging or sometimes if like in Japan, CHAdeMO is very much popular. We have 2, 3 CHAdeMO chargers in one place. It could be also useful. And of course, use IT, enable smarter charging. Okay, maybe you can reserve the charging spot, not wait to the 30 minutes long or an hour long, or some IT will guide you to the most cheapest and the most available charging spot near you when you are driving. These type of customer value should be considered as well. So the characteristic of CHAdeMO towards these kind of another type of additional value for the marketability, CHAdeMO is flexible and compatible with any adjunct system like OCA's OCPP or other business model like a plug and charge system and so on. Next slide, please. Okay, this is another business model issue. As you can see this chart, okay, first of all, the top 4 photos are differences about the charging station, about the location. In case of Japan, usually even I explained some multiple charger are existing these days, but in general sense, Japan has a one charger, one place. In case of USA, as you can see, a lot of parking spot here, one place with 5 or 10 chargers are there. In Europe, just like a gas station of today, Europe has also 8 or 10 chargers in one charging spot. In case of China, they have 50 chargers in one place. If you have 50 cars in one with 50 chargers, I watch during their charge at the China. This photo was taken near the Beijing airport, and during our stay, almost approximately an hour, nobody is waiting, making the line to charge, because if you have 50, some are leaving and some are newly coming. So this kind of rotation is very much smooth in case of China. These numbers in the right bottom, we have some difficulty to deploy the charging business into the market in Japan case. As circled one, red one is gas station, chargers in gas station and chargers at the highway parking spot. This means this red circled charging spot is dedicated to charge. It means charging on business. Other than that, like a green one, car dealers, roadside station, shopping mall, hotels, and stores, they install charger due to their shop or their facility attractiveness. So they are not seriously getting money from their customer. But of course, like a supermarket, shopping mall, a mall has a charger. The next mall besides them are not. In that case, EV user will visit the charger-equipped shopping mall. This is their intention. So these type of non-business or not non-business, but not direct collecting money business type charger are much popular in Japan. We have to seriously think about the sustainability, how to establish the business model of charge in Japan. This is our task for the time being. Next slide, please. Then I would like to make the point, second key component, localization. Next slide, please. Okay, in case of localization, we have, I would like to explain why localization is important. As you are imagining, locally developed, locally manufactured, this type of charger allows knowledge and experience remain in your country. It makes further industrial innovation possible and ensuring quality and safety as well after sales management. It's your responsible, but it's also your business. And from our viewpoint, local companies is very good opportunity to minimize cost of developing, manufacturing, and logistics of the chargers. So how to do that? CHAdeMO has our own system of certification, and we open our intellectual property to your regional use. So the local certification body can be empowered. That's what we are doing to the localize, because we, CHAdeMO, has a very small organization as a secretary basis. We need your help, and we have to work with you, all shaking hand together. Next slide, please. Okay, this slide, and I would like to touch upon about why certification is important. Certification, like a vehicle, can ensure safety level and interoperability, which are very much key for the charging infrastructure. Interoperability means charging manufacturer A make chargers. They can charge GM CHAdeMO cars, Ford CHAdeMO cars, Nissan CHAdeMO cars as well. Of course, those vehicles are also charged by charger manufacturer B's charger. This is interoperability. So if you would like to localize your charger in your country, somebody gives the assurance and commitment to that type of charger or the vehicle side have a surely have a certain safety and interoperability level. Therefore, certification can support development of local charging infrastructure. In our case, as you can see bottom of this slide, the logos of our certification body, we have a third-party certification system like TÜV of Germany, JET of Japan, TATEC of Taiwan, UL of United States, IDIADA of Spain, another TÜV of coming from Germany, KTL from Korea, RI is India, and DECRA is German and Asian certification body, and newly added PPPT of Indonesia is joining as a certification body. So, for example, if Thailand certification charging manufacturer has applying us, okay, please certify my charger is safe enough interoperability and keep enough interoperability. Maybe we ask them means this certification body to test, and they know the local needs, local marketability, and of course CHAdeMO protocol quite surely. Therefore, they can give the green light and with their stamp and with fully responsible of their empowered issue. And this is our system for the certification and localization. Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned, interoperability across any CHAdeMO vehicle and any CHAdeMO chargers need to be guaranteed. This looks very simple and very normal, but actually it could be very much difficult. Therefore, the protocol exists to keep the safety level and compatibility level. It's a very simple reason why CHAdeMO protocol is necessary. Next slide, please. So innovation, of course, we don't have to stop and wait. Next slide, please. This is our roadmap for the high power. As I mentioned, in 2009, we have started CHAdeMO 0.9 version, and it's going to step up 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, 2.0. So during this type of step up, version up, we have output level from 60 and 200 or 40 kilowatt level. And we will have a CHAdeMO 3.0 new plug with quite soon, within a month. We will have a 900 kilowatt output if you need. Again, as I said, sustainability is very much important. We just show the possibility and capability of CHAdeMO protocol, but of course you can select less than 900 kilowatt is of course possible. And this CHAdeMO 3.0 have a backward compatibility with existing current and former CHAdeMO specification. So we call it backward compatible, like DVD and CDs or Blu-rays. So if you have a CHAdeMO 3.0 charger, of course, plug figure is different, as you can see. So you need adapter, but you can charge current existing CHAdeMO vehicle with a new charger, and the new charger also, new CHAdeMO 3.0 car can be charged with existing all type of CHAdeMO chargers. So this type of chronological backward compatibility are also kept. This is our characteristic. Next slide, please. So this is how to power up our CHAdeMO to the 900 kilowatt level. So, of course, background basis, high power charging suitable for truck and buses, and maximum current is now becoming up to 600 ampere. We need liquid cooling of the cable. And as you can see, the light top, we have simple, light, compact connector. And as I said, not only CHAdeMO, but this CHAdeMO 3.0 may have a compatibility GBT and CCS as well. And V2X technology and plug and charge technology is ready with other optional equipment. So this type, okay, as a calculation basis, if you have a big capacity of battery, CHAdeMO 3.0 enable to charge your vehicle within 5 minutes for expand your vehicle's range 400 kilometers. Next slide, please. Another innovation is V2G technology, V2X sometimes we call. This technology means, of course, electric vehicle has a big capacity of the battery. We try to utilize this battery as a storage devices, and CHAdeMO technology make possible the vehicle battery can feed back its electrical energy back to the grid, back to the house as an output. This we call as V2 grid, V2 home, V2 building, and V2X technology. So not only charge, but using this type of power conditioner system, you can use the electricity back from the vehicle to the grid. Next slide, please. This is how different varied V2X machines are already in the market. Up to our calculation and our data, more than 10,000 units V2Z units are operating in Japan, and globally we have in Japan, we also signed 130 local governments, MOU and OEMs, because such kind of local government needs public use of electric energy for the emergency case, lack of energy, blackout situation, attacked by the typhoon or earthquake. In that case, they utilize our energy of the vehicle back to the grid or back to the shelter. Next slide, please. This is an example. In case of 2011, a big earthquake attack in Japan, at that time, we provide our electric vehicle to the local government because gas fuel is run out due to the lack of the transportation system. Therefore, electricity grid come back with 2 days average. That's why EV can move to bring the doctors or such kind of medical people into right place. In the 2019 or other occasion, not only moving as an electric vehicle, but electric vehicle are used as energy back to the system. Like as you can see, smart grid project in Hawaii, they put it back the electricity back to the grid, and also photovoltaic panel energy, generated energy is absorbed by EV and back to the grid in the peak. This type of situation very much happen in Japan and even in Europe or United States as well. Next slide, please. Okay, small case study from Europe, Asia, and the United States. Next slide, please. Okay, this European case, I would like to introduce my colleague, Tomoko Bresh, our colleague in CHAdeMO European Office Secretary General. I would like to give the floor to Tomoko.
Thank you, Dave. Hello, everyone. I'm Tomoko Blesh, Secretary General of CHAdeMO Europe. I'm based in Paris, and I'm very happy to speak a little bit about the European case. So the key law that's governing the deployment of EV charging infrastructure in Europe is called the Alternative Fuels Infrastructure Directive, which came into effect in 2014. In this law, the European Commission tried to achieve two things. One was to set binding targets for EU member states. That is, Europe sets binding targets of the number of chargers to be deployed in each country. Member states have rejected this idea, and it was decided that each country should set its own targets. The second point was setting technical standards. For EV chargers, they decided to mandate that Type 2 plug for AC charging and CCS plug for DC charging. Attention, the law says at least these plugs and specifically wrote to allow multi-standard charging. There was a reason for this. You see on the right-hand side of the slide that EV sales evolution by vehicle charge port or charge inlet type on top, and below the public fast charge point evolution in Europe. When the law was proposed in early 2013, there was in fact no CCS car or no CCS charger in the market. When the proposal came out then in 2013 for legislation, the market was confused and the investments in charging infrastructure froze. Multi-standard charging was the answer, and it was indeed the innovation that our European members crafted. With a multi-standard charger, with both combo, CCS combo and CHAdeMO plugs, investments could already be made. With this, all EV drivers, regardless of the vehicle's charging type, were served. It was also good for the charge point operators and investors of charging stations, because DC fast chargers are quite expensive. A charger with 2 plugs was only 5 to 10% more expensive and serve a much bigger client base, which allowed to recover the investment faster. Notice how CCS and CHAdeMO were put in the same charger, increasing more or less together. You can see at the bottom right. That's how multi-standard charging became the de facto fast charging standard in Europe. Today, if we look at the evolution of EVs and their plug types, you can see that the biggest number of plug-in vehicles have AC normal charge ports only. That is the big line at the top in pink. So this means they don't need fast chargers. CCS vehicles and chargers are growing rapidly, while CHAdeMO continues its steady growth for both EVs and chargers. Next page, please. Last year was a spectacular year for Europe in terms of EV sales. Amid COVID pandemic, Europe has become the biggest EV market in the world, overtaking China and accounting for 43% of the global EV sales. This growth in new EV registrations has various factors, but mainly thanks to the carrot and stick approach of the EU. First, the stick for the automakers. 2020 was the target year for the European Union's CO2 emissions mandate, limiting the average CO2 emissions per kilometer driven in the new cars. Second, the carrot. Many European governments increased subsidy schemes for EV and chargers as part of stimulus packages to counter the effect of the pandemic. As you can see to your right, Europe basically more than doubled its EV sales, while the overall car sale was reduced by 20%. Next page, please. So it was a great year for the European EV market in general, but when you look a little bit closer, you see that this e-mobility boom is in fact concentrated in a handful of countries. You see on these graphs published by the European Alternative Fuels Observatory that 70% of all EV sales, as well as 73% of all public chargers, are found in only 5 countries in the northwestern side of Europe. Next page, please. More interesting data can be found in the same report, so I recommend that you look into it. But for example, to your left-hand side, you can see the plug-in vehicle share over all the new cars sold in 2020 and its breakdown. For example, the yellow that means pure electric vehicle, and orange is plug-in hybrid vehicles. In the middle, you can see how many charge points can be found in per 100 kilometer square of surface area. And to the right, the percentage of high-power public charge points over all the public charge points. For example, you can see that the Netherlands, that have about or over 20% of market penetration rate, Yeah, mostly pure electric vehicles because the large yellow area, and they have a lot of charge points installed. You can see in the long red bar, mostly normal chargers, and the percentage of fast charge points is quite limited. Well, we can see here that EU countries made different choices that they found best suited for their specific situation, as there is really no one-size-fits-all solution. So there are some things we can learn from the EU case. Yes, the carrot works. The subsidies are effective, especially at the initial stage of the market development. On the stick side, if mandating standards, the market reality and trust should be considered. Beware of premature mandates, which can freeze investments, as seen in Europe. Mandate only essential standards such as user safety and provide a level playing field to avoid technological lock-in, and leave room for innovations. The European Commission has published the European Green Deal policy, in which they target about 1 million charge points for 13 million electric vehicles expected by 2025. The Commission aims to revise several laws in order to achieve these goals, and that's including the AFID directive, to tighten it for more coherent e-mobility uptake. That could include some form of binding targets of charger deployment, as well as further technical standardization, which we will, of course, continue to monitor with a great deal of interest. That's all for now for me. Back to you, Dave.
Yeah, it's our successful story, like a localization. So, for example, Indonesia, so they agree about localization scheme, and CHAdeMO is now providing training to empower the certification body like BPPT. India is an existing standard. They have China-oriented standard, CCS and CHAdeMO in their country. But they said CHAdeMO backward compatibility technology is very suited for their country to unify national their standard. Therefore, they select CHAdeMO. And in case of Singapore, they first select to mandate CCS. But since CCS is not deploying, they just succeed to establish de jure standard, but not de facto standard. Therefore, CHAdeMO remains as a de facto standard in Singapore, is with official recognition of the Singapore government. Next slide, please. In case of North America, CHAdeMO has a combination with Tesla and IEEE trying to deploy EV charging infrastructure into North America. IEEE has a current identical standard with a common standard of CHAdeMO 2.0 is just equivalent identical with IEEE 2030.1.1. And also we have some same certification scheme with IEEE. So CHAdeMO has also our unique V2X technology, and also vehicle are much popular, like with Tesla compatible Nissan, Mitsubishi, and so on. Even North American people would like to have a CCS, they said, as a very much PR basis, but in fact, CHAdeMO is still the much popular in United States as well. Next slide, please. So summary and proposal. I just go to the summary with next page. So as a whole of our presentation, so define appropriate standard with sustainability and supporting your country's industry. Please localize and keep safety and quality assurance level in your country, and set supportive policy, regulatory framework to foster the sound of development of e-mobility ecosystem. So CHAdeMO advantage, I don't want to repeat too much. Next, please. Proposal. CHAdeMO would like to and can help you in developing your nation region-wide certification scheme. We have a help desk 24 hours and 365 days open help desk. And of course, we have a training scheme and empowering a local entity open and intellectual property, and some marketability issue, not safety and compatibility issue, but some like a minimum voltage requirement or such kind of local needs, we adapt if you want. Of course, it's we have to discuss with you as CHAdeMO core technology must be kept, but local special needs are also should be considered. So our regional office, like our EU office of Tomoko or global help desk, as I mentioned, and training program. Of course, in past and before pandemic, we go visit you with some machines and our expert designers. Such training program exists. Unfortunately, we will do as a web basis as well, but our training program is still alive. So I would like to share our knowledge with you for your future e-mobility deployment in your country. That's all what we want to say. Thank you very much. And if you have any question, please feel free to contact info@CHAdeMO.eu. Of course, it's also open every day, every time. Thank you, John.
Thank you so much, Dave and Tomoko, for the presentation. It's been really, really nice hearing about all your knowledge. I must say that I'm amazed how many things you know about that. I don't know that much, so I'm learning a lot with you. I want just to highlight some issues that I think that may be really interesting for our audience. The first one is what you were talking about, Dave, about safety, how safety is kind of the anchor value of CHAdeMO, making sure that whatever you deploy, whatever you have, is actually safe for everyone, the vehicle, the charging infrastructure, the human that is going to be using those things. So I think that is a pretty important thing to remark, because this is, as we know, something that actually came into the mind of many people when they think about electric vehicles, right? The other thing is what you were talking about, suitability. I think that images that you had about the water into the bottle actually are really, really good to showcase what we talk about, right? That bigger doesn't mean better, more doesn't mean better for you. It has to be suitable for what you need, what you have, what you expect to have, and in the long run, this planning process that you don't have to get the biggest of the biggest because you may not need it, right? That is a really, really good learning that I was really thank you for telling us that. The other thing was location. That's something also that I've been asking myself. If I was a city planner, what would I suggest to put the public charging infrastructure? We know that there are many countries or city planners or even private companies putting those charging in gas stations. There are some that go absolutely against that, say, why would you do that? Just put in a restaurant so people can go eat. It seems that I don't know. That's one of my questions that I have for you also, is that if this is something that is driven by society, city structure, city density, or something like that, or it should be something more into the planning process rather than into the society, right? That's something that also keeps in my mind always. And the last thing, and then I will jump into the questions, is the vehicle to grid. I know that for many Caribbean countries, having this technology that can actually help them with their energy systems is really, really critical. There, many of the countries are 1, 2, or 3 little islands. that don't have these really huge energy grids that can, rely on, and they have, as you say, tornadoes and these big storms that actually impact really heavily in the energy grid. So that technology is actually something that we have been questioned about many times by the Caribbean countries. So those things I would like to say, obviously, Tomoko, the European case, how it actually works, as you say, the carrot and the stick, how everything can be, aligned and into the path that the different countries want to achieve. So thank you so much for the presentation. I will just go quickly for the questions that we have in the chat, because I'll just keep talking. So the first one. I think that the first one should be for Tomoko. It says, ASEAN car makers are introducing in Europe EVs with the CCS. What do you think will be the future of CHAdeMO in Europe, and will both systems coexist?
But we surely hope so. That's the short answer. But I think it's the European stakeholders and the market that should decide at the end of the day. Because if it's the customer's choice, that's how the market mechanism go, and that's what the stakeholders should decide. But to be forced out by some kind of legislation, we are pretty much against, of course. And of course, we also believe that the first movers should not be penalized, because those are the people who bought the cars and took the risk of being the first movers. So we would like very much that they be happy and can continue to be able to charge. And also, when you think about a car, it's not like you change every 2 years, yeah? So maybe it changes hands, but the car remains in the market 10, 50 years easy. The electric cars run very long time. So should Europe decide that the CHAdeMO cars are not demanded, the transition may happen slowly. And that's the investors that should decide when they run their charge points, depending on how much other charging technologies are used and CHAdeMOs are used, they make their business decisions. But we surely hope that the current drivers and the future drivers, because the CHAdeMO cars are still on sale, have happily and comfortably continue to charge.
Thank you so much, Tomoko, for your answer. We do have 2 questions about CHAdeMO as an association that I would like to make to Dave. It says, does CHAdeMO association deploy the charging infrastructure, or it provides the technology after the stations are already installed? And does the association support the planning phase?
In case of CHAdeMO, we usually support the planning phase and installation phase. But CHAdeMO member consists some repair maintenance industry company or other such kind of local organization of the each region may contain such kind of maintenance system department as well. Therefore, we are not eliminating all the opportunity related to DC charging network, include communication protocol, charging protocol, maintenance, repairs, or everything. So today, I don't focus on such kind of repair maintenance issue, but it surely help the localization of business. Then we are very happy to join and involve that field as well.
Thank you so much, Dave. I have another question about CHAdeMO, specifically in Latin America. It says, who are the main manufacturers of CHAdeMO technology, and are there any manufacturers in Latin America?
I don't know if we can call as a Latin American company, but for example, when I visited Chile last time, I saw a lot of logo of ABB. They are the big members of CHAdeMO Association as a charging manufacturer. And of course, as a company, like a global basis, Nissan in Brazil, or Renault in Brazil, or such kind of company are involved in CHAdeMO Association. But mainly, as of today, I discuss Latin American country with a government basis or EV association basis, not the private company yet.
But
Okay.
maybe I can add that we have some 500 500 members, and a lot of the charger manufacturers also deliver in Latin America. So
Yeah.
key European makers do deliver their products, CHAdeMO products in Latin America.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, as I mentioned, our members, more than 500, become much growing in these a few years, during these few years, 2-3 years. So many of them are coming from Asia. As you can see, number of charger in Asia is growing, and many Asian company is joining. So it's a kind of chicken and egg situation. But I hope if we step in your Latin American market, not coming from Europe, not coming from Asia, but I really welcome Latin American company to CHAdeMO Association as a first step. Then this kind of situation goes in a good spiral, I hope. We really waiting, and we'd like to invite all of your country into CHAdeMO Association.
Thank you so much. I hope everyone that is listening will just get on that invitation. I think that also, I mean, Latin America as a region is very looking into doing regional things, regional companies. They haven't set a standard yet, but they are willing to set a standard in common. They are willing to do common things. As well as the Caribbean. So I think that is a great opportunity to foster the market within the region, not always needing to import things from outside. And that is, I mean, I just played for that. Hopefully it will happen that way. There is some of the questions. We are running a little bit late on time, but I would like to do at least another one that says, is there a safety standard? Is there a guide for the safety standard of CHAdeMO?
Yes, we have. For example, when you get the certification of CHAdeMO, you have forced to have a mechanical integrity test of the connector. You drop the connector from the 1 meter height to the marble floors, or such kind of test for the mechanical test. Or, of course, electrical safety test is also required. So these type of tests surely exist in a CHAdeMO protocol, test protocol.
Perfect. It says, is there any, and I don't know what this means, but dynamic demand side management system that I don't know, that's really technical for me, incorporated within the charging pedestal for a larger installation such as bus depots? I don't know if we are getting too technical because I'm losing here.
Yes, we surely have. For example, in a simple word, if you have large, huge capacity of charger, output power, like 350 kilowatt, if you have 7 connector from one charger, like, Medusa, in that case, you can divide your 350 kilowatt power into 7. It means 50 kilowatt for each vehicle. So sometimes 50 kilowatt could be 60. Sometimes the other side could be 40, or such kind of control will be under the dynamic control. Real on-time control are possible in CHAdeMO 2.0 or spec, or after later version.
Okay, so thank you so much for knowing the answer, explaining us. Thank you so much.
But
okay.
you are smart enough. You understand our presentation perfectly. I really
No,
appreciate.
I understand and I learn a lot, I must say. I'm not that into this part of the EVs. I'm more into the vehicle and not to the charging. So I'm trying to get to more know about the charging because I know it's a whole new world and really important. That's why I really felt that the suitability is actually resonating with me, meaning that, you know, bigger is not always the best. I think that that's really a good learning, I think. So we run out of time. So thank you so much, really, Dave and Tomoko, for the presentation. It was, as I said, really, really interesting. I learned a lot. So thank you so much for being with us, Dave. Thank you so much for staying up that late. I know it's really morning for you.
Thank you very much.
I would like to invite everyone for the next session. It will be the 27th of April. We will be talking about what is going on with electromobility in Brazil. So we will have invitees from Brazil to talk about that in Spanish. And I will invite you all to our website, that is mobilatam.org, where we'll have the presentation, the recording of the videos, and any other information that you may need. So we have all there for you. Again, thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you so much, Dave and Tomoko, for the presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jone.
Muchas gracias.